will not only help us fetch a job, but will also help us in our lifelong career to make it more fulfilling, to grow, and ensure that, like the compass, our career also points towards north.
So let's start this session by a word association game. I'll say a few words here, and then I just want a few responses from the audience. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say that particular word, okay? So when I say summer, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Beach? Okay.
Internship, that's nice.
Oh, internship, perfect. What's
Feel
the
free
first?
to prompt and be loud.
Exactly. What's the first word that comes to your mind when I say solar? Eclipse, perfect. What's the first word that comes to your mind when I say networking? LinkedIn. Any other guesses? Events? Yes. Any other guesses? Sabah, okay. Is there anybody over here who feels like networking is boring and awkward at times? I feel that. Do you feel it's dull? Do you have to go out of your way and put a version of yourself in front of others so that they truly believe in you? So even though there are negative connotations to networking, maybe it might be dull. It's something that you have to do outside of your effort zone. It's still a very crucial step when you have to either look for a job right out of school or you have to move up a level within your current organization.
So what is professional networking? Simple enough. It's about building and maintaining relationships with other professionals in the industry, within or outside our field. Now, why do we do it? It gives us access to hidden job opportunities. He's not amongst us right now, but Manish Sangani, he's a director at Prudential. So he was offered a job, not through LinkedIn or Indeed. It was through a friend. And he had not even applied for a job. So he did not know that the job existed. But because he had networked with someone, he got the job. Career growth and development. So not only we want to network for job opportunities, we want to ensure that we are upskilling ourselves. 6 months ago, skills that were relevant will be rendered obsolete. We might not use them. But networking will give us a chance to interact with professionals in a way that we stay updated with the latest trends and technologies. And we do that by exchange of resources and information. So it's not just a one-way street, it's a two-way street. If we have something to contribute, we should do that as well.
Absolutely. Have you guys ever wondered that how for some people opportunities just fall into their lap over and over and over again? Have you ever looked at somebody and said, this guy managed to be at this level so early on in his career, and how the heck did this guy land on this particular role? The answer is probably luck, yes, but it's not always luck. Because if you think about it really carefully, all these opportunities that landed in the lap of this person has actually come through people that they know. Said otherwise, luck has a lot to do with everybody you know around yourself. Yes, it's chance that plays their role, but luck is a massive factor. Luck is a massive factor when it comes to opportunities. But your networking, the people you know around yourself, plays an equally massive role in all the positive outcomes and positive opportunities that you can get as a person.
So types of networking. Now, these are not mutually exclusive. In person, online. Take ACC Career Compass, for example. It's in person. We get to meet each other, interact with each other, know each other in depth. Tomorrow, there's going to be a Career Compass in Connecticut. Last week, there was a Career Compass organized in Jersey City called Udan, and 203 youths had participated in that. A week before that, it was organized in Los Angeles and Arizona, in Arizona State University. 50 people from each state had participated into that. And a month ago, it was organized in Boston. Around 170 youths participated in that. So what was the point of such in-person events? That we may connect to someone online, but do we get the time to actually interact with them in person? Know their journey, know their hurdles, challenges? No. But an in-person career event or networking event will give us that opportunity. Online is something that we know. LinkedIn is one platform. But staying in touch with our colleagues through other medium like text messages or emails also gives us an opportunity. In my first company, the company's name is Centerfield. I left that company, but I was in touch with my reporting manager. And we would talk about the latest technologies, mostly advancement in large language models like ChatGPT. And then when he left the job and he started his own startup, he called me and says that I want to hire you. So now I had not even applied for the job, but through our discussions, through online medium, I was offered a job.
The other kind of networking events that you could probably attend are formal or informal events. And what do I mean by formal events? These are conferences that typically happen in New York City over and over the time. And actually, I was lucky to be in one such conference back in 2019 when I was actually looking for internships. It was an AWS Summit workshop that was happening in New York City. And I met somebody who was a co-founder at one of the data science neural network, large machine learning model startup called Hindsight Technologies. I met that person. I wasn't looking for internships at that time, but I went on and spoke to him, and we grabbed a coffee. We had a conversation about what I was doing at Rutgers as part of my master's curriculum and what the company that he works for is doing. So that's how we formally introduced ourselves at that particular event. And then we went on to keep in touch using informal methods like meeting over lunches, meeting over coffees again, staying in touch over the phone. And the minute I was looking for internships, I sent this guy a message saying, hey, I'm looking for internships in data science. Do you have any leads for me? Within 10 minutes of sending out that message, he's like, we have an open position in our company itself. And I've spoken to you for over 6 months now. We've even discussed a few projects that you've done. So I think you're a pretty good fit for the position. And he offered me a job then and there itself. So I did not go ahead and work for that company eventually. But the point here is the goal of these networking events might not be to just go and get a job immediately, but just fostering these connections over the course of time will get you what you really need.
Now, when Jeet was doing the activity, what word comes to your mind? We heard the word networking, and then the first word that came to mind was LinkedIn. But there are different platforms for networking other than LinkedIn. It depends on our goal. So now, if we actually have to attend a conference like AWS Summit, do we know which platform should we go to attend that? Let's say we want some advice on our project. Let's say we have created a very nice project and we want to put it on GitHub. Which platform should we use to seek advice from professionals? So there are a lot of platforms. I just want show of hands that if we know these platforms or not. First, Meetup. Okay, great. Like 70% probably know about it. Next, Well Found. Okay, less hands, but for people who don't know, how many of them have heard of Angel List? Okay, so Well Found is Angel List. Next, Discord. Oh, a lot of gamers. Okay, nice. But it's a good networking tool. Next, Reddit. Very nice, very nice. The last one. Who doesn't know about this? Okay. Okay, so let's go through a scenario and try to identify if we were in this scenario, which platform would we use? So we are attending a webinar, and there was a senior executive. Now we want to connect with them. Which platform? Correct. I want to stay updated with the latest trends and discussions in full stack development. Or instead of full stack, you can insert your field. Which one? Correct. Seeking feedback or guidance on new project ideas. Okay, speak up, speak up. Correct. Showcase a portfolio of graphic design work to attract freelance opportunities. And so the answer is well found, but you can connect with startup founders or hiring managers directly. You can message them, reach out to them directly. There is the concept of adding them into the network is eliminated. So well found is a platform where you will have better visibility or at least immediate feedback of whether do they want to connect with you or not. Last, looking to join a group discussion about in-person upcoming trends in tech industry. Right. I myself have attended two through meetups in New York City. One was for machine learning and finance. The other one was just Kaggle project discussion group. It was extremely fruitful, and I made like 5 connections. They didn't get me a job, but at least I'm in touch with them. And at one point, if I need, they might be able to help me out.
And the good part about these meetups, Krutartha, is that these keep on happening every week.
Right.
So if you miss 1 week, there's always another meetup that's scheduled for the next week, and they help you. They actually work through a lot of projects during those meetups. So if you're somebody who's struggling with putting projects on your resume, that's your place to be to network and also get some work done.
Okay, moving on. We know that LinkedIn is the most popular, so we'll be talking about LinkedIn. But before we network through LinkedIn, we need to ensure that our profile is worth networking. Because, okay, we want to know something about someone, but they should be able to know something about us too, right? So why would they connect with us? So our profile needs to be up to date in a way that people would want to accept our connections. These are the elements of LinkedIn profile. Headshot, headline, summary or about me, and experience. Now, we talked about resume, but LinkedIn is something more generic, more dynamic, more flexible, and has the ability to convey things that we may not be able to convey through our resume. Now, yeah, let's go on to the headshot. I want everyone to take out their phones if their internet works, and let's go through their own LinkedIn profile. And let's see whether we have tick off all the boxes in the headshot and all the other elements of LinkedIn or not. So I had a lot of requests coming in, and I didn't put it here, but they did not have any picture. Now, I'm pretty sure everyone here knows that we need to put a picture, but there are a lot of people who think that that's not necessary. I need to put a face to a name. You cannot stay anonymous on LinkedIn. So I hope that is like the prerequisite that I didn't need to put here. Now, no casual or party pics. A lot of folks, they go to like a beach in Bahamas and they put it on LinkedIn. It may seem like crazy, but it has happened, and that is why it was needed to put here. No selfies. Most people have good angles when they take selfies, and we want to showcase our best face, but not on LinkedIn. No pets or children. Now, the awe or the cute factor is not supposed to be put out on LinkedIn. And no old picture. This is how I look today, not 10 years ago. So yeah, I may be an adult 10 years ago as well, but I need to put a picture which is more recent, which someone can identify and relate to. So I hope that everyone going through the LinkedIn profile are ticking off all the boxes. Now, if someone who doesn't have a good headshot, it's okay. There are websites like Photor AI, look it up, or Gradient Scale. There is a 2 weeks free trial. And you can just go to AI headshot generator, put your selfies or pictures, and it will come up with a professional headshot. So try it out, and then we can see. Next. I don't want to expose anyone here, but please don't raise your hands. But this is for us to understand. How many of us have put actively seeking new opportunities for so-and-so role? Don't raise your hand, it's okay. It's okay. Now, do you think everyone here is smart, has a master's degree, is a professional? Do you think this adds value or no? Who thinks it does? Okay. Who thinks it doesn't? I think it needs to, like, overall it needs to be combination. One person think it does, other person, like, so people who haven't raised their hand, they think that it doesn't contribute to the profile. So, honestly, from LinkedIn LinkedIn Premium Recruiter perspective, it doesn't. So, what does a recruiter actually look for? So someone who has a paid recruiter account, they will look for a combination of 3 things when they look for profiles. One is the role. Second is the location. Because now almost every company is turning into a hybrid mode. Very few companies offer remote positions. And third is keywords related to the role. So example, data analyst, New York. Now the keywords are SQL, visualization, and data analysis. So a recruiter who has a LinkedIn paid profile will insert these keywords or a string of these words to look for profiles that match them. So this is our chance to put a headline. You can put actively seeking new opportunities in the summary. In the headline, it contributes nothing. So in a headline, we need to ensure that we have at least a combination of these things. Maybe not all. It doesn't make sense to add data analysis, visualization in the headline. But 2 things can be put there, and the other things can be put in our experience or summary. This is tried and tested. You can go and check on your LinkedIn, even when you perform a search and you type for your position. Let's say Sarvatit Bhai here is an environmental scientist. If someone puts problem solver, polyglot, enthusiast on their headline, and he's looking for environmental scientist, he will not find them as a result in their search. We'll find someone else. So headline is a place where we can optimize the keywords the most. Summary. Now, in a resume, summary is not mandatory, it's optional. Here, we can, again, optimize keywords in a way where when a recruiter looks for certain keywords, they'll show up here. So someone who's actively looking, it's actually very necessary to let them know that we are actively looking. But it should be here compared to the headline. LinkedIn summaries, captivating opening line, narrate a professional story. So you can be creative here. It doesn't necessarily have to be formal or business-like. You can add a tone of casual in this. And then one thing is, we shouldn't put everything from a resume in our summary. It has to be unique. Resume should be designed in such a way that it can be customized for different roles. Your LinkedIn summary would be more generic. An experience, different from resume. So let's say someone who's applying for data engineer, analyst, and scientist role. You will have 3 different resumes, but you can't have 3 different LinkedIn profiles, right? So a lot of us would be applying for multiple roles. What can we put here? Probably everything. Based on our actual experience, based on our interests, we can tell them a better professional story. We are restricted for 3 to 4 points in a resume. But on LinkedIn, we can put more points, elaborate on the story, and convey higher impact and achievements. We can use strategic keywords. So now, keyword optimization in a resume is about matching with the job description. Keyword optimization on a LinkedIn profile is matching with what the recruiter or talent acquisition person puts. That's the difference in the ideology. And depth and flexibility. So let's say we have 10 projects or 10 papers. We can highlight them. And we can hope that, okay, if someone's searching for one of the keywords or for a skill, it might match to a skill that we have put on our profile. We have more flexibility than a single page resume. So the 4 components, headshot, I believe everyone ticked that off. Headline, where you'd rather put something that matches with the recruiter's search. Summary, where you put something creative about yourself, who you are, and focus on achievements rather than tasks. And experience. So now our profile is complete.
Just to add to the argument of whether you want to put something on your LinkedIn profile that says actively looking as part of your headline, there's actually a separate functionality on LinkedIn where you can put a circle around your display picture that says open to work.
Yeah.
So now that if the functionality already exists, use your headline as another functionality to showcase something else rather than keep on putting the same information over and over again.
True.
So we've gone through the aspects of how do you actually build your LinkedIn profile. We went into a few steps, into a few details. But now comes the fun part. What's the most challenging hurdle that you guys come across or I come across as an individual trying to network with other people on LinkedIn? The first one is, how do you navigate the silent echo? And what do I mean by that? How many of y'all have actually sent, when you guys were looking for jobs, how many of y'all have actually sent out requests to more than 100 people and you probably only heard back from 2 or 3 of them? That's me. I've done that over and over again. And that's majority of people who are trying to network on these online platforms, because it's easier to look at a request, a connection request, and ignore that. That's more difficult to do in an in-person event, but in an online networking world, that's one of the drawbacks, one of the hurdles when you're trying to network with somebody online. So that's one of the hurdles. The next hurdle is, how do you break the ice? Let's say the person accepted your request. You are not an extrovert. You are not somebody who is good at going to others and asking for help, putting an introductory conversation and initiating that conversation. So you'll face that issue that, one, you won't hear back from people that often. And second, if you start hearing back from people, you'll always face that struggle of how do I initiate those conversations with all these people. So now that we know what the hurdles are, what's the formula to unlock the success? The first thing that you have to keep in mind is you have to treat all these networking events as a rejection-free social playground. What do I mean by that? So you have to view each interaction as an interaction that you will either learn something from or you will contribute to that interaction. Do not ever look at it an interaction as a failure, because one, you're going outside, you're putting yourself out there and practicing, and there's no better way to overcome these hurdles than actually go outside and put that to practice. We've gone through a lot of tools that you have in your arsenal now through the Art of Communication session that Krutarth Bhai and everybody hosted. So now is the time to actually take those skills and apply them in real life networking scenarios. The second thing to keep in mind is you embrace curiosity and genuinely have the desire to know the person and their work. So always try to approach a networking event or a networking scenario with genuine curiosity and ask them questions that show that you've done some kind of homework before actually going to them and asking for a job or an internship.
Now the first stage after the profile is built, connection request. This is an actual connection request that I've received, and there are like a lot more like this. I had an opening in my company, and I wasn't working with that team. And this person doesn't know me. I don't know them. But this is what I received. It says that I came across a job opening at First Dibs, which is my company, and for a product position, my experience and skills are a good match. He knows it. I would appreciate if you can refer me from the same. I am from India. So I don't know this person, A. Second, I don't care if he's from India because this position is in New York. So I don't know whether he was trying to appeal that I'm also an Indian like you. And I don't know if his experience and skills are a good match. Now, I did not even accept this person's request. And that's how I was able to get the screenshot. But now, how many of us have felt that, okay, crafting personalized request is a waste of time? Nobody? Wow. Okay, then I don't think that we need to move forward with this. But no, genuinely, because when I was looking for a job, what I would do was type the keywords machine learning, hiring, and just add everyone, whoever came on my list. But I've realized that as you grow, a personalized connection is more important than just randomly adding people. So let's see what are the elements of personalized connection. Even on LinkedIn, they say that adding a personalized note will increase the chances of the person accepting our connection request by like some amount. So we need to find a common ground. Let's say you all met Jeet here today. Now, how many of us don't have him on our profile, LinkedIn profile, Jeet Sanghvi? Everyone has him? Okay, yeah, please show of hands. More enthusiasm, yeah. So now if you had to send him a personalized request, where did we meet? In ACC Career Compass today. What did you like about the event? So you maybe liked his speech, his examples, the way he spoke about certain aspects of LinkedIn. Express genuine interest in connecting, common interests, and then we only get 300 characters. So we cannot write a story, or we cannot waste it on, oh, you look amazing, and all of that, right? It has to be professional. It has to be concise. So find a common ground, talk about something that aligns with their interests, and then send the request. So now we move forward to an activity. One more. Mayank Patel, this is an actual profile, okay? He's one of the members of ACC. He's an engineering leader or engineering manager of Uber. And we have to send him a personalized request. Mine is pending. Now, he hasn't accepted it because I didn't send a personalized request. What would you send him? So this is all I could get. Now, he works at Uber, you see on the page, and he's an engineering manager. So take 5 minutes, learn whatever you can come up with your own situation, that where you could have met him, or what post could you have followed of his, or something related to Uber that you like, and craft a personalized request. We'll come and talk about that, and whoever is the best will ask that person to share with everyone. So 5 minutes for the personalized request. And it should be very short in 300 characters. So you can use your note app, type it, and then share it with the partner next to you. Take 5 minutes, okay? But the process of adding people randomly is gone now. We are networking. We are not just adding them. Okay, ready? Who's ready? Okay, Shashwat.
Hey Mayank. Enjoyed our chat on building apps using JavaScript at Udaan JC last week. Would be amazing to connect and keep the conversation going.
Very nice. So you found the common ground, JavaScript, and then he sent a very nice note, very short, very concise, that he would like to connect and continue the conversation further. Anyone else? Yeah. What's your name? Please stand up.
Hi, I'm Sagar.
Hi, Sagar.
I'm not very sure how my approach would be. It's not pretty conventional, but then I usually reach out to people like this. Hey,
Sure.
Mayank. Nice to find you in XYZ, however we connected.
Very nice.
Good to see that you're a lover of JavaScript. I am too. How about we share some lovely ideas about the way Google used its dinosaur meme? We could add some nice things into Uber when it lags during the app because, hey, it's been lagging and I've got some wonderful ideas. Thank you.
That's very nice, but I hope it doesn't exceed the 300 character count. Perfect though. From this side, who's ready and would like to share? Okay, Sarjak, please. What kind of connection request have you sent?
Well, I'm already connected with him, and currently my phone's dead. But if I were to send it right now, because during that time I sent him without a note, but rather I would go like, hey Mayank, this is Sarjak. Just a quick intro about myself, that I'm a recent grad student from Rutgers University, and I see that you are an experienced industry professional leader working since years in the industry. And since I'm in the starting phase of my career, I would like to seek some guidance and connect with a passionate professional like you. Yeah, something like that, maybe.
Okay. One last. Who would like to go? Yeah, sure.
What I would send is, hi Mayank, it was great meeting you at the ACC Youth Meet on Saturday. Learning about your experience of building teams to lead tech at Uber was inspiring. Can I connect with you and continue our conversation? Thanks.
Very nice, very nice. So see, we saw the elements. Common ground of JavaScript, common ground of something that conveys their passion, where they met. These are the elements of, and what the purpose of seeking guidance. So combining these elements, it sends us or gives us the message on how to craft a personalized request. It may seem that it's such a small thing, but the first step, if done right, will lead us to a fulfilling network. Moving on, the next part of the connection journey.
So now you sent a introduction note to, you sent a personalized connection note to Mayank Bhai, and let's say he accepted your request. The next part is how do you initiate that conversation, right? Most of the times you have probably 3,000, 4,000 connections on your LinkedIn, but it's seldom that you've actually gone and spoken to any one of them on LinkedIn. So the key part over here is you have to elevate your introduction and you have to keep it concise because this is the first time you're reaching out to that person. Just a few points to keep in mind when you actually put together your introduction to that particular person. So the first point is you have to have a purpose of what you're trying to do in your introduction itself. Second is how does it differentiate you? Put one point as how are you different from 1,000 other JavaScript coders out in the market and reaching out to Mayank Patel already using LinkedIn. The third point is add some key interest that you both share. It might also not be something that you might like, but you know that just going through his profile, you know that if I mention something about JavaScript, it's probably likely to catch his attention. Just like how Sagar Bhai over here mentioned about something, a JavaScript technology that Google uses, right? So that's an interesting part that probably somebody with a JavaScript experience would read, and the chances of him replying to your introduction pitch is pretty high. Because even though he has accepted your request, the chances of him replying to your introduction note is pretty low if you don't grab his attention in the first few minutes. So I'll give you my personal example. I work at T-Mobile, and there are often situations where we often bump into C-level executives. And when I say C-level executives, it could be the chief marketing officer, it could be the chief technology officer, or it could be an EVP or a VP in my organization. And what my manager personally started doing was every week when we had a staff meeting, he started putting everybody on the spot from our team and saying, hey, let's say you bump into the CMO of T-Mobile tomorrow. How are you going to introduce yourself? Let's say you bump into the CTO of T-Mobile tomorrow. How are you going to introduce yourself? So the key factor here is you keep on practicing it over and over and over again. So let's say I bump into the CMO of T-Mobile. I'll start my pitch by saying, hey, I'm Jeet. I work as a data scientist on the Assurance Wireless brand. That's my introduction, and my purpose would be I'm somebody who's looking to make a transition into corporate strategy. So that's my purpose. The second part is I would go on and tell him that, hey, even though I'm a data analytics, data science, and data engineering professional working at T-Mobile, I've already started making a transition into strategy by working on business cases and working closely with the finance team and the product team. So that's a differentiator right there and there itself, because now I'm telling him, hey, I'm not some average data engineering, data science guy who just has data skills, but I'm also somebody who's transitioning towards the product side of things and trying to answer the critical questions of the business. The third part is the key part here. So now if I bump into the CMO of T-Mobile, which is, let's say he's a chief marketing officer, the third point in my introduction pitch would be something that he's really interested in knowing about my work or my impact as a data scientist. So I might probably go to him and say, hey, we launched all these 3 services in the past 6 months, and the impact of all these services and products is we are seeing our churn rates go down. These services are proving out to be big churn busters for the company, and we've managed to reduce our churn by almost 20%. So now I know that the minute I talk about churn rates, his interest in listening to my pitch is much, much more than me going to him and saying, hey, I use SQL at my job. He doesn't care if I use SQL, if I use Alteryx, or if I use Python, because he's really interested in what is that impact at the organization level. And on the flip side, let's say if I bump into the CTO of T-Mobile, and my purpose is still going to be the same, the differentiation statement is still going to be the same, but now I have to say something that might interest the CTO and make him more likely to engage with me in a conversation. So I might go to him and say, hey, the last 6 months, we've been working on a project to migrate all our databases from Teradata to Snowflake, which is going to be a $1 million per month savings in OpEx through the entire year. So now he knows I'm doing something that is relevant to him, which is relevant to his mission as an employee in T-Mobile, and how am I contributing to the overall company. So these are the 3 things to keep in mind when you're sending out these introduction notes. But then in the end, everything just boils down to how more you practice this, because your refinements are going to come as and when you practice this. Because the first time, I'm pretty sure the first time I met somebody in an elevator or at the workplace, I wasn't this confident about the impacts I've made to the company. So it all just boils down to how eager are you to put yourself out there, practice, and introduce all those refinements in your pitch.
Now, we go up one level. From manager, we go to the level of director. He is a director at Prudential Financial. He graduated from Rutgers University. And he's an architect engineer. He does systems development. If he's connected with us, but mine is still pending. But let's assume that he's connected with us, and we want to send him an introductory note. So it's the final exercise for today, because networking, we are at the beginning of the networking. It's a vast subject. But we want to send an introduction or a request. After the request has been accepted, we want to introduce ourselves. What do we put? So take 5 minutes again. Just write the introductory pitch based on what Jeet here shared with us, and we'll discuss together. So 5 minutes for the introductory pitch. So a lot of folks who will not be connected to software engineering or systems might feel that why should we add him or send an introductory note? But one thing that we need to realize is that networking is not just restricted to your own field. It can be anyone. Anyone can be helpful to us. We can be helpful to anyone else. And it shouldn't be bound by my major or my work. It goes beyond that. So someone who's not from systems development might feel uncomfortable, but it's okay. Let's break that discomfort and send the introductory pitch. No, introductory pitch won't have 300 character limit. Yes, yes. Okay, ready? Who wants to go? Ajay. Ajay, what's the occasion? Why are you reaching out to him?
So it's I'm a recent graduate from this like I myself am a embedded software engineer from Stevens Institute of Technology. So based on his experience in 15 years of experience in design and development, uh, recently I received an opportunity in the field of conversational AI, which platform co.ai, which actually delves into the interface between the front end and the back end. So I would like to know further.
So read it out as if you're actually introducing rather than telling us.
So yeah, like I would. So hi Manish, I hope you are doing well. I am an embedded system graduate from Stevens Institute of Technology. I would like to draw your attention for excelling my career into conversational AI. Recently, I received an opportunity at co.ai, which requires further guidance in the field of systems development and software design and system development based on Node.js and JavaScript platform platform. So I would like to delve into further discussions.
So one element we need to add is call for action. Do you want to talk to them further, invite them for coffee, connect to them through Zoom or Google Meet? What call to action would you say?
So further, the first of all, it would be great if we connect uh, on Zoom. Zoom is
Right.
very tough, according to me, based on the time and this thing. But first preference would be Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Ajay. Okay, who else? From this side. Jishan, okay. Please stand up. Here's your mic.
Hi, Manish. It's a pleasure to connect with you with someone who has impressive 15 years of software design and development experience. I am a data scientist specializing in machine learning applications, and I was looking to learn more about how this AI and machine learning application can be incorporated in systems and architecture. Since I also have some background in Node.js, I was looking more in terms of seeing if we can merge systems and AI to build a meaningful impacting applications. And I wanted to navigate my path where we could merge these two things. So for this reason, I would love to hear more from you and advice you might have for something like this. Perhaps we could schedule a brief call or meeting at your convenience. Looking forward for the opportunity to learn from your experience and happy to have some guidance.
Very nice. Now let's say he's going to refer us and we want a referral from him. Has anyone thought of that situation? That you want to work at Prudential and want his referral. How do we introduce ourselves? Has anyone thought of that? Sagar? Okay, please continue.
Like I said, a bit unconventional. What I usually do with somebody who's that experienced is, I would not seek a professional approach completely. I'd take a bit more humorous approach. Like, I mean, to put it as a pitch, I'd say, hi, an experienced software developer, nearly in the same path of yours, seeking for spiritual advice in how have you kept yourself motivated. Let's discuss about that. I can see you have a lot of technologies which is common with mine. We could probably discuss about them, but what I'm actually eager is, how do you maintain your calm and stay motivated? Because it's a constantly changing field. What you yourself are working on right now will definitely be outdated in 6 months. How does a coffee sound, or probably a Zoom call where we could, probably talk about insights, and you could give me some nice spiritual advice on how I can stay calm and sleep at night.
Perfect. A big round of applause for Sagar. So call for action, purpose. Purpose was upskilling and knowing their interest, having a genuine interest in their journey. So all of these combined would at least make me want to respond. Maybe I'm not interested in networking, but at least he won't get a cold response, at bare minimum. And moving on to the next. Once we have the connections, they responded, we are now connecting with them. What do we do next?
So once you have that connection built, the first point to keep in mind is just don't keep on asking. Contribute something that might be intellectually stimulating for them or might help them in the kind of work that they are doing. Let me give you an example. For everybody who's worked in data analytics, data science, there's a concept called customer segmentation. How many of y'all have actually heard about that topic back at school? I'm sure it's a very common subject to learn about as you go through your master's curriculum. Now let's say I bump into Anand Shah, who works at Meta. Anand Shah is also a part of the ACC team. You've heard him a couple of times on stage. He's a senior manager at Meta. He heads the business intelligence unit. So the first thing is, you could bump into Anand Shah and be like, hey, how's it going? Any jobs, any internships at Meta? That's one approach you could take, right? For example, you haven't met Anand Shah yet, right? So if you were to bump into Anand Shah, this is one approach you could take and say, hey, any jobs, any internships? Exactly. The other approach is, you could go to him and say, hey, just on a slightly tangential note, this is a topic that I learned back at school. Customer segmentation is a topic that I learned back at school. I'm eager to know how Meta uses this concept and applies on its customers. So now what you've done is, rather than going to Anand Shah and saying, hey, do you have any job or internships for me? You've actually taken Anand Shah and moved him to a much common ground where, one, you can either learn from that conversation or you can either contribute to that conversation. Maybe Anand Shah can come back to you and say, hey, we don't do this at Meta, but we are looking for someone who can do it for us. So then that's a job opportunity for you there and there itself. The other opportunity is, maybe he can come back and say, hey, that's good that you've learned that at school, but this is not how it actually works in the professional world. And so as we said earlier, that don't treat any networking opportunity as a failure. You will either learn something or you will either contribute. So just make sure you keep on contributing more as you network with people rather than just asking and asking about opportunities. The next part is, you have to be thoughtful and you have to balance your inquiry. I'm taking Anand Shah again as an example. You bump into Anand Shah. You know he's a senior manager for business intelligence. You are a software developer currently pursuing your master's at NJIT, Stevens, Rutgers, whatever university it may be. This is the second time you're meeting Anand Shah, so now you are in a much comfortable zone with him. You've met him once, so now you're meeting him for the second time, and you can be like, hey, I'm looking for software development full-time opportunities. Can you let me know if something at Meta shows up? How many of you all think this is a right question to ask?
Nobody?
Nobody? Wouldn't you go to somebody who works at Meta and ask for a job? Okay, fair enough. I'll tell you why this is not correct. Because one, Anancha works at as a manager in business intelligence. Going to somebody who is not in the same field and asking them to let you know when some other field job shows up in their company is a very vague task that you're asking the other person to go and do. What I would do on the other hand is I would look up that job. I would look up the hiring manager, or maybe I could ask Anancha and say, hey, do you know this hiring manager? Or maybe I could do some homework and say on his LinkedIn that this hiring manager is connected to Anancha on LinkedIn. So then I can go to Anancha and say, hey, I see this person is connected to you on LinkedIn. He has an open position on his team. Can you put a good word for me, or can you introduce me to that manager directly? So now what you've done is you're still asking for the same thing, but now you have a much defined call to action for Anand Shah. And now you're only asking for 5 or 10 minutes of his time rather than asking him to go through the entire job portal and look for software development jobs for you. And this is where the concept of networking actually comes into play. The example that I just described, what you ended up doing was you not only leveraged your first connection, but you leveraged connections that your first connection had. It's called second connections on LinkedIn. So that's how you leverage the concept of networking and reach out to as many people as you can. The last part about this example is you have to be in continuous engagement and follow-ups with the person that's helping you make that interaction with the second person in his network. Because it might be a situation that even after the introduction, that opportunity might not work out for you. So if you don't be in continuous engagement with the person that actually made the introduction for you, the chances are he might not be willing to do that again in the future. So if you keep on constantly following up with that person, keeping him in the loop on the progress, it could be success, it could be failure. It's just keeping that door open for any further follow-ups or any further asks in the future that you might have.
So today, we spoke about different platforms for networking, LinkedIn, and the importance of having a good LinkedIn profile, how to send personalized connection requests. Once they accept it, what to say in the introductory pitch. And once the conversation has started, how to keep it going and how to keep it alive. So that is the overall essence of today's seminar. But patience is the key. These are the final thoughts. That we may not achieve success in the first try. We will, in fact, we should be ready. We should have the mindset that 99 out of 100 people will not accept our request, despite doing everything. And it's okay. We are not a failure. Failure is someone who doesn't even try. We are trying. Learn to be uncomfortable. It feels as if, let's say we are in an event like this. How should I go up and talk to someone? Why should I do it? But we should realize that it's a short-term discomfort, but a long-term benefit. So we should learn to be uncomfortable and be genuine and be yourself. We shouldn't try to portray ourselves as someone bigger than what we are. People will like us for ourselves. Because in long term, to maintain fulfilling and sustain connections, we should be ourselves and be genuine. So thank you everyone for networking. These are the final thoughts. And also, ACC videos are uploaded on Atmiya Charities channel. So if someone who's missed this, these videos will be uploaded in a week or two. And while that would be a form of online networking, it's better in person. But if someone has missed it, please go to the channel, watch it, like, subscribe, and press the bell button. So we'll be back after the break. Thank you, everyone.